this exercise, I'm going to introduce a new concept, scope. Scope is a way to encapsulate variables through the use of curly braces. You've learned a little bit about scope already earlier in this course. Remember how you learned that local variables only exist for the duration of the method they're in? Well, another way of saying that is that you can only use local variables within the scope of their method, defined by the curly braces. Basically, whenever you create some curly braces that have code inside, you're creating a new scope. And any variables that you create within that scope only exist within that scope. Let's play around with this in IntelliJ so I can show you what I mean. Imagine you want to calculate the fee to charge your client. Here's the deal you've made. You earn $25 for every hour up to 40 hours, and $50 for every hour thereafter. Using Kotlin, you can calculate your fee in this way. We've just created two variables. One that's an integer that is set to 45 hours. The other, we're initializing the price to 0. Now we're checking to see if that number of hours worked is over 40. And now we're taking the number of hours minus 40 to get what's left over. And then we're multiplying that by 50 to get the price. Here we're subtracting the number of hours over 40 so we can have what's left. Let's go ahead and run that. You can see that we made $1,250. The interesting thing here is the code inside the if statement. There's a declaration of a new constant hours over 40 to store the number of hours over 40. Clearly, you can use it inside the if statement, but what happens if you try to use it at the end of the above code? As you can see, it's red, and if we hover over it, we can see that we have an unresolved reference hours over 40, so it doesn't even know what this variable is. This error informs you that you're only allowed to use the hours over 40 constant within the scope in which it was created. In this case, the if statement introduced a new scope, so when that scope is finished, you can no longer use the constant. However, each scope can use variables and constants from its parent scope. In the example above, the scope inside of the if statement uses the price and hours worked variables, which you created in the parent scope.